Hey guys, I'm Captain Foley. Welcome back to Trekyards.
I'm Connor Cochran. So today we're looking at
The Disco Prize concept, final concept by John Eaves before it was sent to the visual effects team. Because there are a few differences.
Destination Birmingham happened yesterday for me. Not yesterday for recording because scheduling. And John Eaves was there with Ben Robertson. They did a panel and he shared these brand new concept things, which is kind of nice that they were allowed to share art because we love this sort of stuff. And yeah, it's the last version before it went off to CG. And we're going to talk about this more in a Super Chat Live YouTube Hangout thingy later today.
And a special shout out to Chris Judge, who's the Trek collector, and Tim Davies for supplying these pictures and helping us out with this episode. Much appreciated, guys. And if you haven't followed the Trek collector, go subscribe to his channel. He's got some good reviews and stuff.
So how does this version look to you? Because it's pretty nicely drawn, pretty nicely CG by Scott Schneider. Or is it even any different at all, really?
One of the obvious... Oh, it looks good. It looks good, I gotta say. One of the obvious changes, though, for me, is the struts, which we'll talk about in more detail. But the straight struts, even though this picture's been kind of shifted, it looks kind of angled. They're not angled on this Enterprise. They're actually straight. And that's how it left the designer's hand. So when John Eaves and Scott Schneider were done with it, it had straight struts like the TOS Enterprise that we know and love. However, when it got to the visual effects team, they made some changes and put angled struts on it, and that very much ties in with the refit movie Enterprise. But
or the an XO1 if you want to look backwards a step.
Well, yes, I suppose. Fact is, TOS Enterprise should have straight struts. I don't care what anybody says.
This is the post-Cage pre-TOS Enterprise, not the TOS Enterprise or the pre-TOS Cage Enterprise. Canon.
Say is that you can see a lot of John Eaves influence here. That back deck of the saucer has little fins, which are reminiscent of the Shinjo, and also the Enterprise B somewhat.
Well, Excelsior specifically called that out in the panel. Said he loves Excelsior, and it makes people think, well, what came first? Did they come from this ship, or is this an earlier ship, or who did fins first?
Stealing from the Enterprise. That's interesting. Yeah, next picture.
Basically, the calendar image. And it looks very. I know that they also, you said in the panel, they also squished the ship a bit after it left their hands. We'll see all those in a minute. That's one of the things I called out especially, being just it. They wrongly proportioned it, and I mean, most times you don't see a ship in an orthographic camera view from the front. That doesn't happen in film very often. So okay, very specialist, but when you do it, it looks silly. Swooping, it looks great. So it's a weird one. Like, can you ignore an angle that doesn't work if the rest of the angles work?
Yeah, I didn't know that they had squished it after it went out of their hands, because as I've said, when I first saw the ship and I saw the red Bizarre collectors in the distance and it swooped in, I was like, oh my god, it's so awesome. I chills and all that. And then the more I look at it, the less I like it, the more I start scrutinizing it. And one of the things that bothers me is the stubbiness of it from the side, the final version. This one, I don't see that so much. So I never even really considered that, but that's interesting. And I gotta say, the straight struts look better.
And it's funny, he was also mentioning, they did a concept. It's funny, when Ben was interviewing him, they showed a picture of the NX-01 concept, which looks very similar to this, actually. And John said, oh yeah, that's not actually for Discovery. It's way before, and I forgot I did that. And after I designed this, I found it again. So those parts are slightly more proportional with a slit. They don't stand out anywhere near as much. Maybe because they're now flush with the straight, it kind of just fits in better than being angled with a curve. Like, doesn't, you know what I mean? They don't stand out here.
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah.
Next view, Stuart, is the author. Is every view is the final paint scheme with Aztecing, still concept, and Scott was making these models. This is pre-window, it looks like. So this is must be pre when they were told to upscale it. So this is much more, because John again reiterated in the panel that it was designed to be that if you take things off this ship, it becomes the Enterprise. He did not know they would then upscale it by 30%, and therefore you could not do that. John's thought was there, Scott's thought was there, and they ruined it in post. and his thoughts were great. The panel was really, really interesting. Unfortunately, they ruined it with the show.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, because if you look at it, if you simplify the nacelles, it becomes TOS. If you simplify the shuttle bay bit, it becomes TOS. If you take out the impulse engines and make smaller, it becomes TOS. You know, it's very even less in the neck, it becomes TOS. You know.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And here again, I have to reiterate that the straight pylons are the way to go. They just have a stance and a look to them that says TOS, and I love it. I do have a few issues with it, and one of them is the long sensor spike on the sensor dish, the deflector dish. It's a little too long, and there is two of them, which you can see on the bottom, the shot of the bottom there. Also, but that's balanced out because it's obviously done by a designer with a good design eye, but it's balanced out by that big staging platform on the back of the shuttle bay.
That's
It's
true.
got the same.
True.
And if you look, if you draw a line from each one up, there's enough. There's the same amount of saucer in front of the deflector spike as there is nacelle behind the staging area. So it's all designed nicely, but the lengths of those things really bug me.
Although the deflector was brought in a lot for the CG model, and John Spivey said, "Well, that's the Discovery era is two prongs. That's just the era of obviously it's linked to the Columbia, maybe not necessarily intentionally, but."
But is it though? Because the Cage came before this, and the Cage Enterprise only had one spike. I just really like the side view on this one. I do like the angled pylons; they look good. They always have ever since the refit. But I'm sorry, guys, it's got to be straight pylons for this ship.
I do love that top view though. It's a great proportioned top view.
Yeah, it's all right, except for that big deck on the back of the saucer.
Yeah, but
It just it doesn't look good. I'm sorry, it ruins
it's
the
very
whole
it's
look
very
of-
tacked on.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, is it if they're using more shuttles, they need a separate place to store them. Look, you love your patio. Think of it as your patio. It's an extension of your house.
No, I'm not talking about the shuttle bay staging area. I'm talking about the back of the saucer. It's just that huge rectangular thing they added. The impulse deck
Oh.
is ridiculously awful.
I'm fine with that completely. I like that actually because it's referential to Excelsior. And again, he said, their prerogative was 25% different artistically, and they very rightly thought, well, as technology evolves, things get smaller, so let's increase the size of the impulse deck to show that the TOS deck, being more advanced, is more advanced, smaller, more advanced. So they bolted it up.
Sure, I got it.
But then obviously
Good.
Cage to this to Con, it's like they already had that impulse deck, so it's like, well,
And the good thing is too, I've seen other photos from this panel, and the end caps on the nacelles were initially turned sideways, which looked atrocious. It didn't look good at all. I'm glad that before the final pass or the final approval on this, they fixed them. I don't know if we have pictures of those in here,
But
but
we'll look at them in the live tonight. We've got all the pictures. This is just some of them. But yeah, that was a thing. That was an early thing, but it was a thing. But speaking of a thing that's not even in the ship, really, the next view is a look at the detail that John does put into things. Although not necessarily represented in the show, but look at the detail. Look at the nice detail of a facade.
yeah, the design, the thought he puts into things is really cool. There's even a shot of this without the housing, the outer dome housing on, which is neat. We might actually see that in one of the first couple of episodes of season 2, because we do see work bees heading towards like the nacelles. Could be that the Enterprise is damaged, so it would be cool to see some of this detail on screen.
To be fair, yeah, I mean, you only build what you need, and if they knew they needed to see like John wouldn't come back and you'd get him designed at the time. I know they said that originally it wasn't going to appear at the end of season 1, but then they said it should appear at season 1. Let's make it a really cool thing. But obviously the narrative stuff they might have known a little bit, so that's interesting. The next view as well. This is the big thing. He knew that we had to increase, because he did call out that you can't, a 60s ship looks like a toy, so you have to update it in some way, which I agree with. But there's better ways of doing it. But one of the correct ways, I think, is adding RCS thruster ports, which because Matt Jeffries didn't invent that yet. But it's in every future ship, so.
And you can see the multiple nozzles
Yeah.
on each one, which is cool for positioning the ship. So
I don't know if that's actually on the. I mean, it's not on the 3D model for Anniversaries. Obviously, that's a lower end model, but I don't know if it's even on the final because I don't remember getting a sense of these. I might have just not included them because they were too something.
there's enough callbacks and references to the original design here that work. Like you see the interchiller grills, the inner ones. You see the ones that stick out. They did add one to the bottom, a fin of some sort, which is fine. But it's that step down and then the step back up for the nozzle that it takes away the simplicity of the TOS designs, which were simple shapes.
Well, that's the point, though. As I've said before, go from a phone from the 1990s to this, you get simpler. So that goes from Discovery to TOS.
No, I get that. I really do. But
because what else can you do?
Cage Enterprise. We've seen the Cage Enterprise. We see the, Captain Kirk 5-year mission Enterprise. This is in between. It's
well, I'm assuming they're, retconning out the Cage ones. Well, they're also retconning out TOS one, really. John wasn't, but I'm assuming they are. It's so tricky. We'll see. Mm-hmm. So we'll see if by season 8 of Discovery we actually hit TOS, if it'll be a TOS Enterprise.
Well, they've gone on record saying they can't.
Yeah, they can.
Canon. I know they can.
If they're clever. Next picture.
Yes. This is interesting. The original shaped windows compared to the new modified Discovery-esque windows. There's even a shot of the ones on the saucer, the rim of the saucer, where they go triangular with the new shape, which ties in with the Discovery look. It's neat, but was it necessary? I don't think so.
Is there
a subtle little thing?
Is there a functional reason for this?
Right? Maybe. I mean, on jumbo jets, the reason the windows are shaped the way they are and not square is because of the pressure changes in the glass and all this. So maybe, because this is in space. Who knows? Next, I haven't seen this one before. But I did see one that showed this exact same shot, but more finalized with 2 photon torpedo launchers in that middle section with no airlock.
I've yet to see
there's
that
no airlock.
one.
There was no airlock there initially. Well, I can send it to you.
No, yeah. But we're going to look at that later, as well.
Yes. In the live. Join us for the live. It'll be a great discussion. But, 2 photon torpedo launchers there, which eventually got taken away, which is fine, because it never had rear-facing photon torpedo launchers.
Well, it did. Defiant did.
Defiant did, but that was a different class of Constitution. That was...
The heavy cruiser.
Watch my evolution of the heavy cruiser captain's log. Anyway, no, I'm not a fan of the impulse deck. It just it muddies up and uglies up this nice, beautiful design. So, well, the next shot is cool. This is the underside of the secondary hull. You can see a lot of callbacks to the TOS Enterprise. You got the circle. You got that shape right behind the circle, which are markings on the secondary hull of the TOS one. Just it's a yellow circle and whatever. But also these hull codes, which are awesome. Because if you look at the original TOS Enterprise, there's little numbers scattered along the secondary hull, and they just add a little bit of realism to the ship. It's very subtle, and I love that they have them here. Caution, hatch, keep clear, caution. Things like that, and the little hull numbers. Yeah, I don't know what the explanation is for those specifically, but
caution. Be careful. We need to tell you about it because we're going to get that close to the ship in EVA suits. Yeah, it's a good to see they put interesting detail, interesting things. RCS thrusters again. It's it looks kind of cool. I never remember seeing any of the models I've ever seen this much detail at the bottom, but it's cool. Yeah. And that's the last picture. So we got the first one again because it's clear, sort of. We just wanted to show you, really, guys, some new pictures of reveal. We're going to talk about even more because there's a lot that we don't want to do in a quick, aren't doable in a quick video. We'll do it in a live tonight. Talk about all of them and take questions and see all the little teeny bits. About
join the live so you can put your 2 cents in and talk to us about this design, ask us questions, comment, give us your thoughts on it. That's awesome.
Of this Enterprise that could have been the heavily thought
Yes.
out, heavily tried to make it link in
Should
some
have
form
been.
of way, some way to canon, but then changed.
Got
in
handed
post.
over to the visual effects team, and yes, changed, altered.
Yeah.
But until then, guys, if you want to put your comments down below what you think of this design, what you would change, what you like about it, is it amazing? Is it the best thing ever? Do you prefer the angled struts? Or are you more of a purist like me, where the straight struts should have been the way? I can't talk. But anyway, put it down below in the comment section. And as always, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and join us on social media. All the links, or relevant links, are in the description below. And we look forward to seeing you there.
Yes, and of course support Patreon, all the things, because this channel needs you.
We need your help, guys.
Yeah.
So until next time.
And another bonus
I'm
video on
Captain
the new
Foley.
stuff. 'Cause there's more stuff, guys. Tomorrow, more
Yes.
videos. Another one.
Yes, and join us for our lives. They're not replacing our regular shows, guys. They're just
these-
supplements to the regular
So
shows.
yeah,
The regular shows are still coming out.
You're getting 2 double specials these days.
Yes. Yes. So until next time, I am Captain Foley.
I'm Connor Coggins. Bye, guys.
Bye.